So, quick introduction, my role, or my superpower, it isn't AI, it isn't SEO, it isn't development anymore. My superpower is being prepared to win pitches, impress our clients, renew our accounts and grow our accounts. So everything I do, every way I prioritize my time day to day is to really strategize and help our clients make the right decisions. There's a lot of uncertainty within SEO, and as I said, I promise I won't go too deep into the specifics of SEO, but everybody who's within this industry is very worried at the minute. There's a lot of change, there's a lot of new things happening. But what I wanted to talk about today isn't just the impact that AI is having on SEO and how people are creating content and getting visibility with AI-generated content. I'll also talk a little bit more about these AI overviews, or Google's SG product. We're going to start with a little history lesson. And by history, I'm talking about things that have happened literally in the last couple of weeks and just how fast this is moving at Google and elsewhere. It's very nice to be here in the US because I don't have to use a VPN to connect to the USA to see these AI overviews. They're only live here in the US. So if you don't live in the US, I implore you after the session, obviously, take your phone out, have a look, do some searches. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, by the way. I know we landed on the moon, but this was just the example I would always use to test if AI overviews was working through the VPN. All of this has come from an obsession from listening to clients. This isn't something I just decided to go off and study. As I mentioned, being able to contribute, talk to our clients, be a strategist, I've had to pick up all of this at pace. So over the last few weeks, literally the last few weeks, not the last few years, I've been in a pitch where I was surprised with a question by a client when we were talking about a WordPress project build. How are you guys going to build and develop that new WordPress website? Optimized for Google's search generative experience. That's the old name, by the way, for the AI overviews, and I'll come on to that. Tell us how your development team are going to build a site that means we'll be compatible for these when this launches. This is a news publisher who I'll show you a little bit later on. I need your team to accurately report on how much traffic we're going to lose when Google's AI search product launches. So if you think of the example I gave you a moment ago, the idea is it's a click-free search result. Google serving the user in the search results like they do for a lot of other searches at the moment. And then some of you will have probably seen this. Again, I was in a big renewal with one of our charity clients, the Air Ambulance. They do incredible work, non-government funded charity, picking people up, taking them to hospital throughout the UK in the yellow helicopters. And we were repitching. That's what you have to do for charities in the UK. You can't just have an automatic renewal, new website, and potentially a 5-year marketing contract renewal. And then that one person who's on their panel on their side sits there, looks over at their colleagues and says, so how are you going to use AI to safely grow donation revenue from our supporters? Looking for that admiration from their colleagues that they were the person that asked that question. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when that scenario happens, my team take a step backwards and wait for me to start talking, which is fine because I tend to start talking, I'll take over in those sessions. But I really do think as leaders, as agency leaders, we have to know enough to be able to navigate through this process. I'm keen to set the scene as to how AI has made its way into search, so I'm going to rattle through that. And as I said, we're going to poke a little bit of fun from Google because there's obviously a lot of mistakes that they're making with the rate of change that they're putting out there. So AI has wound its way into search. It does go back a longer time. Sundar Pichai, back in 2016, switched the vision from Google from being mobile first to AI first. So there was a lot of things going on in the background at Google. They were working on AI. Not many things had actually been released into their product until these two events happened. So ChatGPT launching, Microsoft's AI chatbot renamed later on as Copilot. I truly believe that these accelerated Google's need and ability to push out their AI products faster than they were actually ready to do because there was a bit of an arms race. There still is an arms race going on with AI in search, right? So just over a year ago, whether they were ready to do it or not, Google released their Search Generative Experience, SGE, within Search Labs. And as mentioned, Search Labs is something you can sign up for. You can still do it today, and you get early access to features that only people in Search Labs are signed up for. They gave a preview of SGE, which is like the screenshot I showed at the start with did we land on the moon? Here's just another example. And it was due to launch in December 2023 of last year. That was just based on the countdown within Google Search Labs. That didn't happen, and I think the main reason why that didn't happen is because, I'll just go back, where are the ads? Where's the advertising? If you think about Google's revenue globally, nearly 60% of their annual revenue is from search advertising. And over the course of 12 months, that's $175 billion a year to them. That can't be compromised. If you think about where the ads go in that experience, yes, they're putting the user first, they're putting technology first. I think the reason why they delayed launching last year was because they weren't ready to compromise this yet. They hadn't worked out how to get the two things working together. At the same time, in the background, you've got ChatGPT, you've got generative AI, giving marketers, I'll say marketers, so I'm talking about spammers, the ability to start creating content at scale using AI. Google being AI first, publicly, and this hasn't changed, this is just a screenshot from their webmaster guidelines, we will reward, we will rank content no matter how it's created. If it's high quality, doesn't matter if it's been made by AI, doesn't matter if somebody's painstakingly written it, we'll support you, we've got your back. But the problem with that is they can't actually really filter out the good content, whether it's AI generated or not. And these are just a few screenshots from some headlines from earlier this year about how the internet content is the worst that it's ever been. Google's product as a search engine, people are complaining that it's getting worse, not getting better. And one of the key reasons is because, as The Guardian said, there's a zombie internet appearing of just content of nonsense that people are putting out there so that they can get it ranking and they can get affiliate revenue from doing so. The best example I can give you of this, I don't know if anybody's seen this example that The Verge did last year. This is an online publication. They used ChatGPT to write an article to prove the point that as an authority, as a website, they can create something crap and Google will rank it exceptionally well. So they wrote an article, 275 words, 100% AI generated by ChatGPT. They didn't check any of the facts, they didn't proofread it. And I won't make you read all of this, but just read that first opening caption of this article. Now, what you'd expect to happen, and they did this as an experiment, by the way, and the whole article goes on like this, that it would and shouldn't rank, but it went straight to the top of Google for best printers. This was here, literally until 2 weeks ago. Even the spam team at Google were commenting on it, saying, well, we're not going to remove it because the algorithm's the algorithm. So, case in point, the article from The Verge demonstrates the problem that Google have. It's got so bad, they're having to manually, not algorithmically, they're putting algorithms out there to stop AI-generated spam. They've got people with probably spreadsheets literally going around appraising websites and blocking them because they can't get the algorithms to decipher it yet. It's a big, big problem for them. At the same time, they want to get their AI search product out there. So they've got the two things happening concurrently, and you've got ChatGPT, rumored to be launching a search engine of their own very, very soon, by the way. Reuters broke a story just 4 weeks ago, assuming that ChatGPT would launch their search bot the day before Google's last I/O conference, just to put a cat amongst the pigeons. Is that saying in the US? Cat amongst the pigeons? No? Well, it means to cause a problem, cause a ruckus, be a bit of a nuisance. And this is an interesting screenshot. This sort of went viral on LinkedIn. I think things can go viral on LinkedIn. Former Googler describing the situation behind the scenes at Google. And fundamentally, I won't read the whole thing out, there's a mindless panic that they're getting left behind. They're shipping stuff. Before May, when Search Generative Experience, AI Overviews went live, there were well-known quality issues with this product. I'm not going to talk about Bridgerton, I'm going to talk about tea. So I love tea, so much so I can't drink tea in America because it doesn't taste the same. But does anyone have a quick go at telling me what's wrong with this cup of tea that's in the process of being made? It's not right. You don't put milk on the tea bag first. It's ridiculous. So the moment I set up the VPN, You're not making me tea anymore. I don't know why, but the first thing I chose to search for when I had access to search generative experience was, should tea have milk before the hot water? I didn't even know if I'd get a response back, but I did. Thankfully, I liked the response. It came back correct. Of course, you don't put milk in a cup of tea before you put the hot water on. Now, upon closer inspection, just zooming out a little bit, it's actually incorrect. It's citing and talking about Loughborough University's Dr. Stapley, but if you actually look at the incorrect statement in the AI overview, and then click and look at the results, the university study actually proved that you do put milk in the tea before you put the hot water in. I won't go into the reasons why, because I don't care. You don't put milk in before you put the hot water in. And that was my first experience. Things get a lot worse. I don't know if any of you have seen any of this in the news or the media. Google don't care, by the way, they're just cracking on with this. This is another search, and this is, if you look at the little green box at the bottom, this is May the 5th, a week before this product launch. This is someone looking for it on labs. 4 million views of this one example. Google were well aware of this example, and I'm going to show you some others as well. How do you pass kidney stones quickly? I'm not going to ask anybody to answer that, but Google AI overview suggests that drinking 2 litres of urine does the job. No. So Google started reducing the appearance of AI overviews before the product actually went live. It was as high as 85% last year when it went live. And if you look at the blue box, the blue column, which is where the results are declining up until launch, it went down to 14%. So only 14% of searches would return an AI overview. So then they went live on the 14th. US only, you have to be logged in, as I said. You can't opt out of them. They announced they're going to go out to 1 billion users later this year, so we'll probably get it in other countries like the UK. They're dramatically scaled back. If you even try it on your phone after the presentation, please, not during, how and what type searches, you'll see the AI responses coming back. Google claim it'll drive more clicks. Don't worry, publishers, we'll bring more traffic to your website. But most frustratingly, you can't actually track when your content's appearing. They went all in, they showed some great features that still aren't live yet. If this animation works okay, you'll see how these results can also, this is something to do with lightning. You can have a simpler explanation, you can have a more broken down explanation, but these problems, these gremlins are still there. So the ones you're about to see, bear in mind we're now live, and we're talking 6 weeks ago. According to Berkeley geologists, that you should eat 1 small rock a day for the mineral and vitamin content within them. Again, I would not recommend it. Google AI Overviews were presenting comedy, satire as fact. I don't know really much about this whole running with scissors joke, but again, recommending it. One of my personal favorites, and you'll see from the screenshot I replicated this, recommending putting a cup of non-toxic glue into pizza sauce to stop the cheese from sliding off the pizza. I wouldn't recommend trying it, but if it's non-toxic, then why not? Where this content comes from, where the AI is hallucinating and generating this, it's actually, in this example, coming from an 11-year-old Reddit post where somebody just sort of taking the piss suggested that that's a solution to it. So lots of problems. If you think about my example with a cup of tea, misrepresenting news, with this example, Google is getting the answer from just about anywhere. User-generated content on Reddit. It's crazy. It gets worse. How many Muslim presidents has America had? None. So despite being Christian, Google AI Views suggested there was 1 Muslim president. These are all examples that Google have acknowledged, by the way. And the thing you've got to bear in mind with these is that once this started going viral, a few weeks ago, people started making up and doctoring their own versions of these. But these are all ones that are verified from Google saying, yeah, sorry about that. An African country beginning with K. So AI Views correctly counted, there are 54 countries in Africa, but Kenya, for some reason, doesn't qualify, perhaps because it's in East Africa, who knows. And what people were starting to notice was this, these were all going viral continually on social media, and at some point in time, somebody was going to pull Google's pants down and pick them up on this, which is exactly what happened 3 days after that post. That was then followed by lots of other media news outlets around the world, all talking about the ridiculous examples because it was just becoming and getting out of hand. 6 weeks after launching, Liz Reed, head of search at Google, Fundamentally, and I'll paraphrase, we don't care, we're cracking on. Sorry, it's not perfect, but perhaps some of the best work gets done when you're under pressure. We'll fix it. And they then dialed it back down to around 8% of searches whilst they sorted the problems out. These are the sectors that they're most likely to appear for as of right now. And then even just on Friday, as I mentioned, I've been keeping these slides up to date on a daily basis. These AI overviews have started popping up in local business results as well. So what? Who cares? It's just another evolution of Google search results. Well, I'll give you guys some examples of how this is influencing our clients, why I've had to get clued up on this and what we're doing about it. So one of our clients, Gore-Tex, incredible brand. I had loads of their products or partner products even before we had the incredible opportunity to pitch and work with them. This is their most popular piece of content on their blog. Again, I may redact some information just because of sensitivities with clients, but how to wash Gore-Tex, as you can imagine, is quite a popular search. Drives thousands of clicks. The Gore-Tex.com website is not a transactional e-commerce website. It's a portal to take you to partners, Nike to buy waterproof running shoes, jackets and so forth. They take you off elsewhere. It's a content hub. When it launched, traffic has dropped 28% over the last 6 weeks in the US. Globally, it's exactly the same. So their traffic for that one piece of content, and again, I can't show you other statistics, I'm afraid, but in general, this is what people are starting to see with the latest rollout. In Google's press release, when they launched it, they promised that actually clicks would improve. The current industry average from various SEOs calculating this is that roughly when the SG result, the AI review, does appear, you get 9% less traffic. How do I rank in AI reviews? Gorewear, sub-brand of Gore-Tex, these guys do cycling and running gear. And as you can see, the e-commerce search results are getting very, very crowded with the introduction of the AI overviews. Now, I think Google are soon going to do something quite big and revolutionary with e-commerce search to compete with TikTok Shop, to compete with Amazon. Something's happening because this is, quite frankly, a mess. And again, they're shoehorning in, but what you should know, and the key reason why I've included this example is adverts are coming to AI reviews imminently. This was announced just a couple of weeks after AI reviews were announced, and it's going to look something like this. This is an animation issued directly from Google. So this one was the biggest one, really, because we do a lot of consulting work with Reuters.com, big publisher here, obviously, in the US. And when SGE was first out and working a year ago, they were completely covering news coverage. And if you think about publishers, they generate their revenue from advertising revenue, from clicks, from subscriptions. This is a huge threat to publishers because ultimately, if you can get the answer in the search results, you're not going to click through to that website. You're not going to subscribe. The problem with this, though, and we've been following this quite closely, so these are examples just before this all got scaled back. Why is Israel at war with Palestine? Usain Bolt news. But this is the real problem for publishers. There are meetings happening at publishers where they're incredibly upset about the copyright infringement of their content. So Google are reading their content, they're amalgamating it in their AI summaries without license fee. Even though news has completely dialed back, Google is steering well clear of it because of the sensitivities of headlines. This is a rare example where there's a piece on Reuters where it's more of an opinion, something that hasn't actually happened yet, therefore it doesn't qualify as news, so the AI overview is appearing. This was the potential solution we were asked to look at and to potentially implement. Block it all. We do not wish to appear in any AI-generated search results. It's not possible. And it can be done. You can use this little bit of code and it says, look, I don't want to appear in the rich results. This will also take you out of Google AI overviews. Problem with doing that is, yes, you'll come out of the AI reviews, you won't get that citation, but if you've got a very attractive featured snippet, which is the box at the bottom, that's quite appealing to click on. And if you take them out of the AI reviews, you take them out of both, this is how the search result would look after the implementation. I had to mock this up. I didn't have time to actually take the Reuters content out of the example, so imagine that's not there, but that single piece ranking normally, that's what it would look like. So we then had to go on a very complex set of forecasts and calculations to work out that even before news does make its way into AI reviews, they're going to lose 28% of traffic just by blocking it. And that equates to hundreds of millions of clicks. It's a very important piece of work that the team and I had to work through to avoid making rash decisions. So I'll summarize. I'm conscious that I'm running over a little bit. AI overviews appear for 8% of searches. At the moment, traffic drops by about 9% when they do appear for anybody that was already ranking on page 1. They're definitely not the death of SEO. They're an evolution, not a revolution of search. Never forget that Google need people to click on ads. So anything they do change is always going to be focused on protecting that revenue. If you have a client that is not appearing when an AI overview appears when they could be or should be, their performance will be degraded. And it is already being ramped back up. This isn't just a random search. This isn't a hallucination. Yes, UK police are getting Ghostbuster backpacks to stop hooligans on electric scooters flying around London. This piece did not appear in AI overviews. Now that it's become slightly aged, news content is also starting to make its way back in, and this is just as early as last week. Strategies I'd recommend doing with your teams, with your clients: prioritize e-commerce. That's going to have the biggest impact first, not just with the advertising. The ads in AI overviews, be ready to buy those. Your paid media team should be talking with SEO teams to make that happen. There's an incredible opportunity right now for all of us, for clients with content marketing strategies, to start looking at if and whether they're returning in AI overviews, and if they're not, there is no better time than to talk with them, upsell and sort that out, and obviously you do not want to block them at the moment. It's self-harm. Don't let it be a distraction, but keep pace. Google has some serious competition coming. How am I doing for time? Can I do one more thing, Kirsty? Does anyone know what the national dish of Scotland is?
Haggis.
Haggis. Can you describe haggis, Bo?
Brains and oatmeal.
Brains and oatmeal.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, okay. It's not an animal though, is it?
No, it's made from sheep brain. Oh my God.
This is my favourite one that I found. What is a haggis? In Scotland, if anyone goes there for tourism travel, any locals that are in the tourism sector in Scotland take absolute delight and great pleasure in winding people up that think there's a small possibility that haggis is a real animal. There are websites, there are content out there committed to the cause of convincing people that haggis is a real animal. I wish I actually could have shown you more of what's below the fold on this, because it's absolutely ridiculous. But the point I guess I'm trying to make with this, as humorous as it is and ridiculous, that's a AI-generated haggis. It looks like a cross between a guinea pig and a beaver. That image, along with many others, is on a website full of AI-generated content. So you've got AI overviews representing AI-generated content and images as fact. I'm terrified to death of my children doing their homework if they get asked what the national dish of Scotland is when AI overviews land in the UK. But it has been corrected, and this is happening fast. So the presentation today, it's only probably going to be valid for a couple of weeks because everything's changing fast. And like I often find with our team in the office, if you put them under pressure and force a deadline, the best work possible happens, and I'm assuming that's the ethos they've got at Google to make this work. Thanks, everyone.